In the quiet suburb of Maplewood, where the most exciting event was the annual bake sale, there lived a man named Ethan, who had always been a bit of a loner. One late night, while browsing the internet, an ad popped up for The Ultimate Companion, a state-of-the-art, lifelike sex doll with all the bells and whistles. The price was steep, but Ethan thought, you only live once, right? A few days later, a large, discreet box arrived at his doorstep. Excitement tingled down his spine as he carefully unpacked his new purchase. Her name was Veronica, according to the instructions anyway. She had an eerily realistic face, soft skin that felt almost human, and even a voice feature that could be programmed to say whatever he wanted. Ethan set her up in his bedroom, chuckling at the absurdity of it all, but secretly looking forward to having some company. That night, after a few drinks, Ethan decided to give Veronica a test run. He switched on the voice feature, set her to sweet and romantic, and laid back, waiting for her to whisper sweet nothings. Instead, he heard a sharp, disapproving voice that sounded like it had been plucked straight from an old black and white film. "Do you really think this is appropriate, young man?" Ethan blinked, wondering if he was more drunk than he thought. What?" he muttered, half laughing, half confused. "I said, do you really think this is appropriate, engaging in such vulgar activities?" Her voice was stern, like an old-school nun chastising a student for chewing gum in class. Ethan's heart skipped a beat. What the hell? Is this some kind of joke? But Veronica didn't laugh. Her expression, could it be, looked almost disappointed. "You should be ashamed of yourself. In my day, men courted women with flowers, poetry, and respect, not whatever this is." Ethan scrambled to find the remote control, his pulse racing. "What the hell is wrong with this thing?" he muttered, pressing buttons frantically. But the more he pressed, the more animated Veronica became. "I was a lady of the highest standing, I'll have you know," she declared, crossing her arms in a very un-doll-like manner. "To think I've been reduced to this disgraceful object. It's utterly unacceptable." Ethan stumbled backward, knocking over a lamp. His mind raced. How could this be happening? Sex dolls weren't supposed to lecture you on morality. They were supposed to be, well, the exact opposite. "You know," she continued, her voice dripping with disdain, "back in 1892, a gentleman would never dream of behaving so shamelessly. Are you even a gentleman, Ethan? Or just a scoundrel?" 1892? Ethan's head spun. This had to be some kind of elaborate prank. But the more Veronica talked, the less it felt like a joke. Her speech, her mannerisms. It was like she was channeling someone from another era entirely. That's when it hit him. Veronica wasn't just malfunctioning, she was possessed. Ethan's thoughts scrambled for answers. Had he bought some kind of cursed doll? Was this house built on some ancient burial ground? But before he could think any further, Veronica's voice cut through his panic. "Perhaps there's still hope for you," she said, almost softly now. "If you could just change your ways, return to the virtues of yesteryear, write a love letter, compose a sonnet, anything to show you're not beyond redemption." Ethan stared at her, sweat beading on his forehead. This had to be a nightmare, right? He'd wake up any second now, but no, this was real. And Veronica, or whatever had taken over her, wasn't going to stop until he listened. Desperate and confused, Ethan found himself doing the only thing that made any sense. He grabbed a pen and paper and started writing a love letter to a doll possessed by the spirit of a Victorian prude. As the hours passed, the lecture continued, with Ethan feverishly writing apology after apology, hoping to appease the ghostly presence in his house. The night stretched on, filled with more absurd demands. He recited Shakespearean sonnets, swore off modern-day vices, and even promised to donate to the local historical society. By dawn, Ethan was exhausted, the pile of handwritten notes scattered around him. Veronica, now silent, seemed satisfied, her expression almost serene. But as Ethan slumped into bed, too tired to care anymore, he realized one thing. He'd spent the entire night not in the arms of his ultimate companion, but groveling before her. The joke was on him, and as he drifted off to sleep, one final thought crossed his mind. He'd never live this down if anyone found out. But at least, for now, he had a very unique story to tell. If he ever found the courage to share it.